Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I have with me entrepreneur and technologist Bill Ottman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. And today we're going to talk about how to create a censor-free zone to share ideas. And this is like super hot topic these days. I mean, I noticed, everybody notices Twitter has switched to X, and Zuckerberg copied Twitter into Threads. And, you know, there's been like a lot of news around people not being able to share a lot of what they want to talk about because it's censored on a lot of platforms. So let's just dive in by having you, the expert, tell me, you know, what inspired you to first become an advocate for creating a censor-free zone for sharing ideas on social media platforms?
Yeah, so I think having access to as much information as possible is a requirement, sort of like a prereq for being able to have informed speech in the first place. So I think of freedom of information as sort of a priority to speech, because otherwise you're uneducated. Unfortunately, you know, with access to all information comes crazy information and controversial information. But I do not believe that completely getting rid of it is the right solution. Give people obviously full control over what they see. But why would you want to deny, you know, people who may be, for instance, a de-radicalization advocate? What about someone who wants to engage racists or extremists in a positive discourse? Why deny them of that opportunity?
So is this more, when you mentioned, like, you know, talking to a racist, for example, give me a scenario where that is something that anybody would want to do. Because I don't want to, so I'm curious how.
Yeah, and most people don't want to, and I don't think that is going to change. I think it's going to be a minority that wants to do that, but there are many people who do that. In fact, there's a whole field around positive intervention.
Got it.
And people like, you know, one of our advisors, Daryl Davis, is famous for helping to inspire over 200 members of the KKK to leave the organization. And He did that just by befriending them. This is a black man.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he's given TED Talks. We've done a bunch of events with him, and he's really an inspiration. So, like, you know, we know that it works over on the long term. You know, it's not like you can't change
it takes time. I mean, it can't happen overnight. I mean, these are people that have been indoctrinated over decades of, you know, and brainwashed into thinking that what they're doing is the right thing. It might be as easy as taking their white sheets, putting them in with your colored clothes in the wash, and coming out pink and saying, well, you can't wear them anymore. So now what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, the other issue is that because algorithms are still kind of dumb, they can't necessarily detect the difference between satire and real extremism. So you have all of this collateral damage when you have these censorship policies, where satire, people who actually completely disagree with the nature of the content, but they're mocking it in sort of an edgy way, you know, they get punished. You know, you get punished. Like, we can't create this chilling effect globally where you're afraid to engage with certain topics just for fear of getting banned. I think that that's like an unacceptable future scenario for social media. So what we're trying to do is create more of a censorship resistant, interoperable social media world where you own your identity, you own your social graph, you own the relationship with your followers, you own your content. And so regardless of if you get deplatformed, you can take that with you and go somewhere else, as opposed to just having your work stripped.
Love it. And I've seen people on Facebook in particular post something after I haven't seen them for a while saying, hey, I'm out of Facebook jail. You know, I said something about, you know, this person or people in general, and I was banned for 30 days when I didn't even say anything wrong. And they even do a screenshot of what they said, and it was nothing bad. So let's talk about the privacy and or the censorship concerns that you have around the major platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, you know, maybe even Reddit. What are some of the things you've seen? What are the problems? Let's talk about it.
From a privacy perspective?
Yeah, and censorship too. Because I mean, like I said, people are...
Yeah, I mean, look, all of these platforms have far too heavy-handed censorship policies. I mean, Twitter's probably doing the best of the big tech platforms now, after Elon has taken over, but they still have issues. They're still not like a true free speech environment. I mean, just two notables like Kanye and Alex Jones, for instance, are banned. They didn't do anything illegal.
Right. They were just banned.
They were banned because Elon seemed to just not like what they posted. So yeah, we believe at minds.com, where we have a First Amendment based policy, that you want to the way to increase the rate of de-radicalization is only possible when you're providing a place where de-radicalization can occur. If deplatforming makes de-radicalization harder because you are pushing them away so you can no longer engage with those people, that's just a matter of physics. I mean, you cut off communication, it's over. So everyone's doing it wrong, in our opinion. Threads, interestingly, did make a very strange statement. The CEO of Instagram said that Threads will potentially support ActivityPub, which is a federated social protocol that we're supporting now, and also Mastodon and a bunch of other sites support. So it's kind of meaning that you can subscribe to people on other servers, and there's more of a decentralized infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny that he said, "Oh, we want to give people this option in case they get in case we deplatform you."
Right.
Because the Instagram Threads policy is really bad. I mean, they're trying to create an app for conversation, but to not allow any kind of political conversation, it seems.
Right. And I happen to have a startup that is about friendships, right? And we don't allow a ton of stuff. We've blocked over 700 plus words. Any sort of sexual misconduct, political ranting, hate speech, bullying, we just suspend those people immediately. It's in our terms of service. Okay. Because we are a very specific kind of platform that focuses on just pure friendships, not about conversations about the world. It's more about like, I like video games, you like video games, let's chat. Do you think platforms like mine or others out there, is that something that you believe is okay to do? Because as you're saying, we're removing people's, tools to conversate, but we feel as though we're keeping it safe in some ways.
I think you totally have the right to do that. That's your First Amendment as well. Your right to moderate is that's speech in a sense as well. I do, however, think that for the major platforms, the ones who marketed themselves as, kind of the town square and a place for free and open conversations.
Social media, basically. Social media.
The major sites, I do think that there's very serious negative social impact that we still don't understand by continuing with these censorship policies. So for niche sites, I'm not saying that everyone should be forced to talk to everybody in every context. Cool. Yeah.
That's nice to hear. So let's talk about, how Minds, I'm curious. I mean, usually I don't plug the company that I talked to until the very end, but I'm actually curious, what makes you stand out from an X, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Mastodon, even? Like, what makes you stand out? Why are you so different? 'Cause I know everyone always asks that when you're pitching your product to people, but what does make you stand out?
I would say that we have the best reach for creators and revenue tools. So we've focused very specifically on this reward system, this kind of gamification where you can earn reach. You earn these tokens, then you can use the tokens to boost your posts. Tokens are worth views. So just by joining and contributing and posting, you're going to start earning these tokens, and you can get way more reach. People will sit on Twitter or these tiny little Mastodon sites and then there's just no one there. I mean, it's impossible to break through the algorithm. So I think that we make it easier for small creators specifically to kind of be heard, which I think is everyone's kind of clawing for at this point, with the algorithms being so difficult to figure out.
When I came up with Spinner during the pandemic, there was a clear aha moment. There was a catalyst of me being stuck at home, realizing I didn't have as many friends as I used to, and wanting to make new friends. So I built a platform specifically to make new friends based on the same hobbies I liked. What was the catalyst or the aha moment for you to say, I got to build this? What was the moment that you said to yourself, not only am I building Minds, but I'm going to do it based on these core principles?
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was over 10 years ago now, which is crazy. But
Wow.
I just looked at the space of social media. None of them were open source. They were all surveilling everyone like
Mm,
crazy. There was all of these kind of data abuses, there's censorship abuses. So it's like across the board, in terms of principles, whether you're talking about transparency, privacy,
yep.
free expression, user control, they were just failing in all of those verticals. So I was just like, okay, the market needs this and I
Right.
want to build it. Yeah.
You saw it to be broken and you realized that you had to fix it. And this was, and you're right, this has been ongoing for a decade. You're absolutely right. I know my first startup, it's funny that we're talking about this. My first startup in 2010 was the anti-Facebook. It was like a group-based kind of
Oh,
social
really?
net. Yeah, I built this group-based social network where you could actually say what you want, not get banned. It wasn't controlled. There was no privacy issues. Again, it's 13 years ago. So I want to talk a little bit about hate speech in
Mhm.
particular. How do you envision fostering free discourse? People have this free First Amendment right to talk,
Mhm.
but while still combating hate speech to promote a healthier online environment. Because that's kind of one of our tenets. It's like you can talk to people, but you got to be really careful to not bully somebody. If someone's overweight or someone has a mental issue,
Sure.
we're very careful about that. What do you guys do, or what do you envision?
So we wrote a whole paper with a team of PhDs and Daryl called the Censorship Effect, and we launched this on Joe Rogan. Daryl and I went on there a couple years ago,
Nice.
and yeah, if you just search
I think I might have
minds.com,
seen that, the censorship effect. I think I've heard of that, and I think I've seen it. So maybe I've already seen
yeah,
that.
it's like an 80-page paper, kind of going through our solution for like how we implement positive intervention and other kinds of control mechanisms for users to engage with the types of content that they want to engage with. And
So,
all the studies in the space of censorship and de-radicalization, kind of the blowback effect of censorship. Like this isn't just like our opinion.
right.
It's
This is something you've done research on with PhD. So since we don't have
yeah.
too much time, can you give me like the three top things that the key insights you found in just paper?
Yeah, we
I know
did
it's
it.
hard to do, but
We did a ton of research. It's funny how simple it ultimately becomes. Deplatforming creates it isolates people, and isolation causes more radicalization. You're creating you're pushing people into more of an echo chamber. They don't have access to all
correct.
of the speech that they had before, and isolation causes depression. Isolation can even lead to violence. So, I mean, there was one case which I bring up a lot, but where YouTube banned this one woman, and I'm not saying this is YouTube's fault that what I'm
Right.
about to say occurred, but YouTube banned this woman. She was like a dancing creator in the Middle East, I think, and she brought a gun to YouTube headquarters and just shot people.
Oh,
She
wow.
didn't kill anyone, but like
Okay.
people get
Thank God.
very upset when they lose their voice.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of that, and be careful of triggering. That in the effort of making a safer space, that we create actually a more hostile, violent space. That can happen.
I agree with that. And so, one of the things that we did when we built our app, it sounds like we have similar kind of attributes, but totally different platforms, is we decided from the first day that we are going to be this particular kind of app. And if you don't like that, then just don't use us. How do you feel about that that kind of mindset of like, if you're not into soda, don't drink it. Drink water and coffee instead. We're kind of on that mindset. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's like be upfront from the beginning with what you're doing. And this is the betrayal of big tech. They kind of want the best of both
Bingo.
worlds. They in the beginning they said, "Come one, come all."
Right.
Freely express yourself. And
Right.
and quite frankly, they rose to prominence by allowing a lot of much more controversial speech. They used to
Yeah.
allow way more than they do
Everything.
now. And so
Yeah.
now they just want what they want now, and they want to disregard the sort of more rough social contract they had before. So I just consistency.
Perfect, man. And where can people find out more about what you guys do or sign up for your platform?
Yeah, it's just minds.com, minds.com, or on the app stores. You can find me at Ottman, Ottman on there. And yeah, would love to check out your site as well. So I'll definitely follow up with that.
Awesome. Yeah, ours is called Spinner without the E. It's a
Nice.
video friendship app. I'll check mine's out. I already did check out the website at one point to see what it was like, and it looked pretty cool. So everyone check it out, minds.com, for some free speech, and hope you learned something today, and we'll see you in the next episode.